What's up? Let me see. Let me name this bad boy. Or maybe it's too late to name it. I don't really understand how technology works. Alright, so I'm just gonna get started talking, even though no one's on here yet, and I'm sure people will file on or watch it later. But, I feel like there's a lot of controversy happening right now. I just read that Andrew Tate got arrested, blah, 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 whatever. And I just want to say, my honest feeling is there's no one really discussing the Matrix in the public sphere too much besides Andrew Tate, and maybe Elon Musk talks about it a little bit, but obviously they have their respective issues, which is certainly a problem. I will admit, I agree with a lot of what Andrew Tate says about brainwashing, indoctrination, the media, the Matrix, but of course his angle is skewed towards a direction of being a macho male, not fully understanding the nuances of the difference of genders, gender roles, sexes, equity, etc. So he's certainly missing the mark with that. I don't know how real the allegations are or what, because obviously, I mean, if he's speaking out against so much, of course he could be framed, but also, of course, it could be real. So I don't really have a stand there. Also, I would say, in terms of speaking about the Matrix, there needs to be some spokespersons, some Morpheus type figures that are not just men, because obviously there's a other angle to understand about how the Matrix uses dividing genders and misogyny, etc., towards its own ends. And freeing yourself from the Matrix does not look like still being a misogynist. It looks like appreciating divine feminine and divine masculine, which obviously would be like a balanced, nuanced sort of synergy between the two genders and roles and the way you collaborate, and not just accepting the status quo of how that's been going. So I will say, yeah, I am a fan of the fact that someone's willing to speak out, but I'm not overall a Tate fan. I feel like I used to more so be, but more and more I start to see yeah. My reason for that was because a lot of feminists or people who talk about misogyny rarely ever talk about pragmatic strategy of actually how to make a tangible change besides just philosophizing and arguing with people, which I felt was a dead end. So I did appreciate the fact that if you learned what you needed to learn from Tate, not being a misogynist, but actually that you're being brainwashed, that you're a wage slave, how to actually become independent, how to navigate around the world with all the laws and the ways people try to censor you or stop what you're doing, etc. Or things about running a business. I think if you actually put that knowledge to work, you would get something out of it, and you could further your political ends and visions by using that information. So that's why I was a fan, because I feel like he had more practical information in terms of making a change. I feel like a lot of, I won't just say activists, but basically spokespersons to a certain movement, feminist people who advocate for feminism, people who advocate for LGBTQ people. It seems like there's so much talk about what's right, what's wrong, this literature, that literature, citing sources, blah, 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 this is what should happen. But the action seems so underwhelming for me. So it's where are we raising money? And not just charity, but some serious, where are we actually getting a cut of the pie, with our movement? And is it being properly distributed to minorities that a lot of liberal minded people want to root for so much? But it's I don't see the wealth being shared. I don't see reparations happening. I don't really see pragmatic actualization of certain ends, and that's why I feel frustrated. But I would say all that to say is that I want to clarify for some people what the Matrix actually is, because the way it's talked about seems very conspiratorial, and it could certainly become like another form of groupthink and another form of like, oh, we just listen to this one person, we believe everything they say about the Matrix because we want to be free, and then they could just believe anything one person says who claims to be breaking the Matrix or claims to be some Morpheus or whatever. So what I want to define the Matrix as is, which I made a video about this on YouTube, check out my Break the Matrix series, but I would say it's more so like, look at capitalist overlords. A lot of leftists use that term. Basically, people who are multi-million is not even the top of the top anymore, but multi-million, multi-billion billionaires who have shady practices with their corporations, tend to spy on people, tend to be manipulative, tend to push people around and just use them as pawns. That's what I mean by the puppet masters of the Matrix. And of course they collaborate with governments. So if you look, it's very simple. You have a super wealthy, ultra wealthy corporation. They can essentially do whatever they want, use people how they want. They lobby the government to get whatever passes they want. They collaborate with government to basically get away with whatever they want. And what ends up happening is that everyone's living under this paradigm where they have to do something to survive just because some conglomerations of corporations set things up that way. And then, of course, there's all kinds of nuances and layers to that. And so breaking the Matrix is not just about figuring out how to get wealth for yourself so that you can live freely and not be a wage slave. It's also about figuring out how to restructure society so that there isn't this factory printing machine of wage slaves. And by wage slave, I don't mean like you work at McDonald's and that's the only wage slave. I mean, you could be a corporate worker in the six figures and you're married to that paycheck because it's comfortable, but you don't actually agree with the practices. You're not fulfilling your full potential as a human being. You're not following your dreams. You're just taking a check because it's comfortable. And you say, oh, I want to support my family, blah, 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 whatever. But at the end of the day, you're working for some other corporation who's making a lot more money off of your compliance than you are even making, even if you're making a lot. I mean, that's also a wage slave in the way that I'm using it. So I say all that to say is that if you want to break the Matrix, it's not about just figuring out how to survive peacefully yourself and how to break out of all these constraints, these coercions, these standard paths, these massive trade-offs that severely limit your freedom and your ability to create and actualize yourself for what your actual purpose is. But it also means being willing to rethink how power structures work in this world, being willing to examine the existing hierarchies and figuring out why they are the way they are, accepting that they are the way they are, accepting that your moralism, your ideologies is not going to change it. Just because you have an ideology, it's not going to change it. You have to have a plan to figure out how to put it in place. And newsflash, a political party is not going to make the radical changes needed to restructure the system anytime soon. So you can't just put all your eggs in the basket of political activism and vote for this candidate. It's like, you could push whatever bills you think should be made. You can sign whatever petitions you want all day. But if the Matrix corporate overlords are still lobbying, your petition's not going to beat their lobby. They want to do something, their lobby's going to win. So you can't just protest, petition sign, and talk about your ideology. You have to have a strategic plan for how you're actually going to restructure the system and realize that raising a certain amount for charity, or one good bill gets passed, or one good politician wins, or one successful protest makes one company change something. That's not a big win. That's a very small win. If you look at the bigger picture, the world is running a certain way. Yeah, maybe a few little things got changed, but overall, the larger system, that's like you're barely crawling if you just got this one thing over. So it's like, whoever you are, whatever political siding you're on, if you believe in certain shared principles like everyone having the freedom to self-actualize or follow their dream, or people having more access to living life a way they actually want to live it, instead of having to stay in a certain box of being chained to a job they don't like. Like, if you have those similar values, and if you have the values of supporting a certain minority, realize, like, there's not going to be a political party that's going to fulfill that for you. That you have to actually be willing to work together with whoever else has those similar interests and build something that does it, and compete with. Realize your enemy. If we're looking from the place of the Matrix, and I'm saying we're in a Matrix, if you think your enemy is a political party, you're being tricked, because both political parties in the US are not actually making the changes necessary to heal things. So your enemy is not Republicans, your enemy is not conservatives, your enemy is not men with traditional values, your enemy is not even misogynists on the larger scale. Misogynists are just whiny babies, they're stupid. You could just, like, tell them to fuck off. But who owns you is like a corporation. So it's like your enemy, you have to realize your enemy is shady corporations who want to own your life and require you to work for them. They're going to make more money off of your labor than you're making off of it, and dwindle the potential for you to build something else outside of that if you're just struggling to survive. That's everyone's enemy. If you're a conservative, if you're a liberal, whoever you are, if you are a wage slave, we have the same enemy. Corporate overlords. That's our common enemy. We could argue about everything. We can argue about gender rights. We can argue about abortion. We can argue about LGBTQ rights. We can argue about all kinds of issues. But if all of us are wage slaves, whether we're Democrats or Republicans, our enemy is not each other. Our enemy is not a political party. And these political parties are puppets. They're not about to do what either of us really wants them to do. They're going to do what the lobby pays them to do. Realize that. Your vote doesn't matter. Your Instagram post doesn't matter. Your donation to Biden or Trump does not fucking matter. What matters is, like, who is paying the government to do what they want. Every year you should be studying who's lobbying for what, why. Look at the companies who are lobbying and exactly what they're doing. Now, if you can see this and you still buy into those corporations because, oh, well, I really just needed this thing off of Amazon, or, oh, you know, I like P&G products, or blah, blah, blah. I mean, you're buying into your slave owner, essentially. Like, think about it. Like, it's so hard to see the whole thing, but if you see, where are most people working? Who's making the most money here? It's these huge corporations that don't really give a fuck about human lives. You can't keep buying their shit. You have to, like, there needs to be a widespread boycott. There also needs to be widespread strikes. You can't keep saying, well, this corporation's shitty and it's just how it is, da da da. Everyone needs to work together, liberal, Republican, whatever the fuck. We all need to work together and say, you know what? This company's on bullshit. We are doing a massive strike. We're doing a massive boycott. We're not going to tolerate that. To exercise our muscles as the people, all of us, not just one side or another. To exercise our muscles as the people, to say we have standards and you can't just control us like that. That's when you start actually flexing some sort of control or some power, where it's like, well, now these shady corporations are going to have to start making changes. And I will tell you, forever, whether there's a strike, a boycott, or whatever, they'll figure out how to recover. They'll be like, oh, just give them this other little piece of cheese that they're looking for. Just give them this other little piece, and we're not going to change the whole thing. But we have to be relentless about striking, boycotting, building our own systems until everyone gets a picture. Nah, humanity's not just going to comply with that anymore. It's time for everyone to grow up. So, I say all that to say, if you are someone who's frustrated with feeling like you're just spinning your wheels, sifting through the same ideologies, having the same arguments, but not really seeing any tangible change fast enough, feeling tired of wanting to root for this politician or that politician, where you feel like we're barely making any progress with that system anymore, then I'm here to say, hey, I want to talk to everyone about some more legitimate, tangible strategies. And I'm not just talking about activism. Personally, as an activist, my first strategy is not to protest. I mean, I will protest if I feel like there's a really, really highly organized, idea behind the protest that has a likelihood to be successful. But a lot of protests is just like, here's my opinion, I'm exercising my freedom of expression, etc. Let's get riled up. It's beautiful for getting excited about an issue, but it's not necessarily the most productive I would say, strategy to make a change. I'm also not the type of activist who's going to be like, I mean, yes, sign the petitions, but I'm not going to be like, we'll sign enough petitions until, no, I don't really believe that. I'm also not the type of activist who's like, I love mutual aid or whatever, but do I think mutual aid is going to fully fulfill the entire vision and mission? No. So I'm going to say, yeah, go donate to mutual aid. If you click the link in my bio, it has a bunch of stuff, like stuff you could read, funds you could donate to, etc. So please take advantage of that. But is that my vision for how we're going to, change things on a big scale? No. This is what I truly believe, and this is where some people lose me or don't really understand how to feel about me according to their political sighting. I'm the type of activist who says, okay, big corporations want to rule everything, want to run everybody, want to mind control everybody, censor everything, you know what I'm saying? Push whatever they want in the media for whatever hype they're trying to generate that might have a kernel of truth in it, but actually never change anything, just profit off the hype, etc. Publishing these politicians sell, like literally say, oh, this politician's going to do this, so they're going to get all these votes. But the real cause is not really about that community. We're just going to get their votes. That type of bullshit, like, my strategy in terms of changing that is, okay, make a corporation that actually walks its talk, that actually figures out how to innovatively solve a lot of issues we've been facing with other big corporations. So, for example, with my company, I don't want to exploit people. I want to do everything humanly possible to allow whoever collaborates with me to own their ideas, to get paid fairly, to have a living wage, beyond a living wage, to have a robust wage, to be able to do the things they actually want to do. So that means for example, if I had someone on my team and they like to do 5 different things, I would love to see if I can allow them to do 5 different things and work with the team together. Like, I want to be an example as a business for how to run business more with more humanity and more respect for the individual and the human being and the soul that has its own agenda. As a company, I want to be carbon negative. I don't want to just say, oh, we're doing this little eco-friendly thing, like just this little drop in the bucket, eco-friendly, whatever. No, I'm like, I want to seriously attack the problem and structure my business from the ground up in a way where it's always been about being carbon negative, not just carbon neutral, not just, oh, we do this little thing, or it's not as bad as this company, but like actually being the best at being carbon negative. Like, that's a company value that I want to build and actualize throughout my business. Also, I want my business to be completely surrounded and focused on, for example, whenever you buy this product, this much goes to land back. Whenever you buy this product, this much goes to reparations. If you check out, I don't know where I have it listed, on my website, on my YouTube page, all of my music streams, all of my YouTube streams, 14% goes to reparations funds. I'm not bullshitting. I mean, from this day and forever on in my company, if you stream my content, 14% will go to reparations. It's going to be built into the way the company runs, that reparations and land back is just a part of it. It's not like some little charity donation we do sometimes, or this little collaboration we're doing this season to get more people to buy into it just for, no, it's like the entire structure of the profit margin relates to giving back to things that need to be invested into. Also, with my art, and I can show you receipts of this, 14% of everything I sell in terms of my art, it always goes to land back. There's no question about it. Every piece of art anyone ever buys from me, it will go to land back. There's hands down. That's never going to change. So what I'm trying to do with my business is, instead of just being an activist who wants to picket fence, who just wants to sign petition, who wants to raise this mutual fund, whatever, I'm all about all of that too. But in my company, I want to sell a brand that people love with enlightened culture. A type of culture that makes people excited about life, that helps wake people up, that helps people work through their trauma, that helps people level up in life, that helps people actualize. And while they're consuming this dank ass content, 14% of all streams go to reparations. 14% of all art sold, all merch sold goes to land back. Hands down, 100% of the time. So if you don't have money to give to reparations, just keep streaming my music. I swear to God, I will always provide the receipts. And if anyone wants some receipts, I'll happy to show them the first one that I did. But recently I sold a piece of art and I made the first donation to land back. 14% of that art sale. So anyway, what I got on here to really say is, here's some download I had the other night about the Matrix and how to break it. And I'm not saying how to break it by supporting this guy or that guy or even supporting me. I'm saying how you yourself can support the Matrix, how you yourself can break the Matrix and support yourself, how you yourself have power. I don't care what anyone has brainwashed you or socialized you into thinking you don't have power. If the left or liberals have socialized you into believing you don't have power because you're disenfranchised, fuck that. If the right or whatever wants to say you don't have power because X, Y, and Z, because they're doing this or that, I'm here to tell you, you do 100% have power, and here's how. It's a spiritual thing. It starts before the physical, your power. It can be reflected in the physical, but your physical state is not evidence of your true essence of power. Your true essence of power starts within, and I want to talk about that. So here's my download. You can use it as an affirmation. I invite everyone to think freely about it. Disagree, agree, whatever, critique me, call me out, challenge me. I'm open for it all. We all have something to learn. So here we go. I hope this helps someone. This is just word for word, stream of consciousness, what I was thinking the other night. I just realized others don't understand it. Maybe the deep state or the Matrix overlords do, but I own the Matrix. My ability to love myself is reflected in the spectrum of how other players and all their roles across the Matrix love themselves. I am somewhere in the middle, but my vibration relative to my temporary limits sets the tone for the whole picture. I am the blueprint, the Pandora's box, the major keys, and the locksmith, because I'm pure, distilled, raw humanist. Imperfection, yet radical self-determination wrapped in one. Graceful forgiveness and intuitive evolution. Boundless love and a delicate balance of the forests and the trees. Willingness to let go of what I want to see and to see what is. I have special privileges in the Matrix because the overlords spiritually do not have what I have. Divine grace, infinite energy, sublime, effortless will, gratitude, satisfaction in the face of great plight, the ability to love all, the ability to solve any riddle, outsmart the largest military without weapons, without an army, without control of others, simply because the absolute control of my heart, my chakras, my electromagnetic field, and the information it sends and receives. They may try to censor me, but not for long. Because they will want to see what I have to say. They will want to see what will happen. They'll know I'm not reckless, selfish, or short-sighted. So I wouldn't topple the house of cards in a careless way. I wouldn't destabilize the already stressed, delicate balance we live in now. Deep down, they know I probably have a plan more brilliant than theirs, and I would be willing. And they could not defeat me or the vibration I leave behind for much longer. They would take the plea for their non-existent crimes, basically fuck off. A part of them will be relieved that I gave them an easy way out, that they didn't have to sweat anymore, to stay up at night constantly worried, always doubling, tripling down, finding new ways every second of how humanity is stronger than their dehumanization and obsessive control. They're smitten and in love because I love and understand them too. I see the irony of their predicament, that they felt they didn't have a choice in this life. Circumstances pushed them where they are, like a current too strong to swim against. The access, the greed, the potential, the generational manipulation, the sheepishness of the developing human brain so easy to hack. I understand. But I am a quantum computer. I open up possibility spaces in my imagination and quantum entangle those scenes with their existing counterparts in reality. I am a reflection of reality, and reality is a reflection of me, refracted from the source, powered by infinite love, the same blood everyone runs on. I crack codes faster than any mainframe about complex systems, emergent properties, the product of millions of years of reality nesting itself in concept atop of concept. I am a goldmine of secrets. They want to study me, steal my ideas, but they can never know how to use the tools the way they are intended, manifesting their bottomless resistance. Nihilism is their most deadly enemy. They've separated themselves from the nature of reality so much they can no longer find meaning. They are tired of life. While enslaving humanity, they became their most helpless and tortured victim. They fell into their own trap. My divine protection is divine intelligence. It's metaphysical platinum. They may or may not know all of their actions are my reflection. I am the same source because I acknowledge myself as the ultimate reality and all iterations of my ego as beautiful illusions, tessellations, remixes of God DJing drunk. The Matrix overlords are a reflection of everything I could fear. God only fears himself to manifest every possibility to prove how divine he truly is and his ability to defeat all inauthentic versions of himself in the pursuit of truth, self-knowledge, and love. He frees all the devils trapped in hellish cycles. He frees his divine from the devils, all while the most sublime entertainment of the journey unfolds. I am not a messiah. I am nature, like a blooming flower, innocently magical. We are the same. This is true for everyone else who can believe it. If you're ready to break the matrix, I would say, maybe you like this affirmation, maybe you resonate with some of it, maybe you don't. But I would say, look into those thoughts. Understand how your own imagination manifests reality. And you realize, no matter how much money you make, what demographic you are, all the ways you're oppressed on paper, realize the beginning of any change, the seed to any change, starts with what you are replaying in your mind and what you're feeling in your body and your spirit all the time. If you start, I want to say, in order to participate in the matrix as a wage slave, as whatever, as a pawn, as a bot, as an NPC, etc. If you participate, it means you're complying first and foremost by being willing to believe that you belong in that position and being willing to replay that cycle over and over and over again. Oh yeah, I'm just this. Oh, I deserve it. Somewhere deep down inside, you're allowing yourself to feel that you deserve it. And then that's why you can feel stuck. Well, I can't do anything. There's no way to fight it. I don't know how to. Honestly, human to human, everyone who's controlling people in this world is a human being. You are a human being. There might be super substantial advantages or disadvantages at play, but we're all human. We all have the same divine tools. We all have our own imagination. We all have our own heart power, our own source of energy that we could tap into. No matter where you are, even the bottom of the barrel, if you start imagining something else, replaying different things in your mind, realizing what you're looking at outside, if it doesn't align with you, it's not your reality anymore. It is the old reality flushing itself out into the timeline shift that you really deserve, that you really resonate with, that you truly believe in. You have to accept that this external reality is no longer yours, that it's the old one, that there's a lag time between what you feel, what you imagine, the seed you plant, and it growing, and accepting that everything's changing, and being willing to do the work to clear out all of that junk, to cleanse your aura, to cleanse your mind, to reprogram your mind, to open your chakras, and get yourself in the habit of keeping your chakras open, to like walk through life regardless of what's going on, regardless of how this reality is transforming and where we are in it, to walk through life with an open self, an open heart, an open mind, all your chakras open, all of them vibrating high, being willing to actually realize that's the work that you're responsible for your power. You might not figure out overnight how to make the money you want to make, how to live the life you want to live, but where you can start is, what do you imagine constantly? What are the thoughts that play on repeat? How much are you blaming people and giving away your power versus how much are you taking responsibility, saying, you know what, these are magnificent, insane circumstances, but at the very least, I'm willing to say, this is what I'm going to do about it, and do something you believe in. Do something. Change something about what you're doing. I talked about in a recent reel, if you want a radical shift in your life, you can't just pray for it. You can't buy some new crystals. You can't have a psychic do a spell for you or a witch do a spell for you. All those things might help. But if you want a super radical shift, that shift starts inside of you. You want a radical shift? Radically open up all your chakras. I'm going to talk through the chakras right now. You want a radical shift? Radically. You feel present more than you've ever felt present in your life. Your root chakra is beaming with energy. You're telling yourself, I'm here, I'm worthy, I'm substantial, I matter, I'm important, I'm interconnected with causality. Everything I do changes things around me. Every little tiny thing I do, even if I don't realize it, it changes everything. I'm interconnected with everything. I'm here, I matter. No matter what list of hierarchies I may fall on or may not fall on in the standard human paradigms and the common sense we subscribe to, no matter where I lie in all of that, emergent properties of our society and of our culture, no matter where I stand, no matter what everyone else thinks about me, I know for a fact, just like the butterfly effect, I'm bigger than a butterfly. I'm here. My effect is substantial. I change things simply by existing. No one can minimize my presence. My root chakra is open. My solar plexus is open. I'm open to all of the beautiful, wonderful, creative ideas that flow through me all the time. When I'm walking down the street or getting ready for work or whatever, driving in my car, and that idea crosses my mind, instead of thinking, oh, I can't do that. I don't have the money to buy supplies. Oh, I don't have time. Nope, that stops. I say, wow, this is a beautiful idea. I must be... it must be meant for me to actualize this idea. I'm supposed to actualize this idea. I'm supposed to do this thing. These beautiful ideas are flowing through me, and my art is going to change people. My art is going to change the way people feel. They're going to change the way people think. My art's going to change the industry. My art has a purpose in this world. And you open up your heart chakra and you say, I'm open to loving everyone. Even the people I don't understand. I'm open to loving the people that I disagree with. I'm open to loving the people from a safe distance, the people that hurt me. I'm open to loving all the parts of myself that I'm afraid to look at. All the parts of myself where I did something I'm ashamed of. I'm open to loving all of that. I'm open to loving life, even if my life isn't exactly what I want it to be. If I think all these things are wrong, if I think I've been wronged, if I feel trapped, even if all these things are true right now, and this is the reality I'm doing the work to evolve out of and let it push through to the next thing that I've planted the seed for. I'm open to loving the journey exactly where it is. I'm open to appreciating the small things. I'm open to every moment of my life to look around and say, wow, this is profound. Reality is so beautiful. I'm looking at a reflection in the material of other human beings' imagination. All these things that were invented, my iPhone, my car, my house, someone built this, someone imagined this and built it. Reality is no longer just this 3D space for me. Reality is like a call and response between imagination and action. I'm seeing how other people brought things forth. I'm able to appreciate that. I'm seeing how everything is vibrating. Everything I touch, everything I see is vibrating. All of these things, they go down from molecules to atoms, to quarks, to quantum ooey gooey stuff and strings. I see how all of this is vibrating, and even if this isn't the construct that I see as my most ideal right now, I'm willing to appreciate how magnificently reality is just able to construct itself, to stay together, to be coherent, yet also be malleable. My heart chakra is open to appreciating all of that. My heart chakra is open to things that I might be being pushed to try that I haven't tried yet. My heart chakra is open to talking to people I wouldn't normally talk to, loving and sharing information with people I normally wouldn't share with. My heart chakra is open to possibilities I wouldn't consider as viable. My heart chakra is open to ways to do things I've never tried to do. And my throat chakra is open. My throat chakra is understanding right now that I no longer have to censor myself, that I don't have to say things just so people like me. I don't have to say things just to be accepted. I don't have to hold in that opinion or that thing that's been bothering me that I'm afraid to say because I think my group is going to disapprove of it. My throat chakra is so open. I know when and how to communicate truth from a place of love in every situation. I can walk in a room, and because I have self-confidence, I know I'm valid, I have a purpose, I'm powerful, I am a key player in the room, I am providing and offering some value, I'm going to help people collaborate and work together, I'm going to help people wake up and realize things. And I know that what I have to say is important, and I know how to say it and how not to say it to actually reach and get across to people. And I don't feel insecure in that. I don't feel frustrated. I don't feel resentful. I don't feel scared or worried. My my throat chakra is completely open, and I have a wonderful sublime balance with the way that I communicate with everyone. And my third eye chakra is open. I'm able to see through the surface of what's happening in my situation. A lot of times there's maybe a few layers that most people are willing to acknowledge. This is obviously what happened, like the black and white, and here's this interpretation and that interpretation and that interpretation. But I can see the layers going all the way down to the bottom of causality, all the way down to the bottom of the assumptions and the intentions made that manifested this situation. I can see the whole picture of exactly why, how divinely purposeful, as good or bad as it may seem, regardless of the ways I initially reacted to it, I can see why these situations are happening, and I can see exactly how to navigate through them. My third eye chakra is open. I can see traps people are trying to set for me. I can see my light is not flickering, but it's flickering the video, which I don't understand. I can see stale cycles that are not working for me anymore. I can see things that are not meant for me anymore. I can see places I don't need to be anymore. I can see ideologies and paradigms that I'm growing out of. I can see where people are. I can see the people around me, how they are loved, how they are connected with divine love, how they are enlightened in their own way. But I can also see their shadows. I can see what they're working through. I can see what they've yet to understand, what they've yet to discover. I can see where they're limited in their ability to love me right now, and I don't take that personally. I know how to love everyone around me with sublime balance. I know how to love myself and realize everyone wants to love me, and everyone's in their own place on their own journey, and I can understand that right now. My third eye chakra is seeing divinely. I can see things as they are, not just with the physical 3D, not just with the standardized opinions, not just with the indoctrination, not just with the media saying. I can see the divine mechanics behind why things are the way they are right now. And most of all, I can appreciate and love them instead of hating them, instead of rejecting them. I can lean into things that used to make me uncomfortable because I want to understand what's happening here. And I know I'm capable. I know I'm worthy of understanding. I know my purpose is to make evolution happen, unlock evolution in those spaces. I know my purpose is to see, understand, love, appreciate, have grace for those situations. I know until anyone can appreciate those situations, the energy will stay stale. Because the universe might not let things move past you if you're not willing to actually understand and appreciate why they're there. Or else you'd be missing out on a lesson. Or everyone would be. And my favorite one, my crown chakra is so fucking open right now. I am vibrating blissfully. With all of the unknown ways, all of the things I can't understand, all of the ooky spooky, paranormal, all of the unexplainable, mind-twisting, paradoxical ways I am 100% interconnected with oneness, with the source, with God. I understand how I am a refraction and a reflection of God. I understand how God is moving and working through me. I understand how God is understanding himself through me, and I'm understanding God through myself. I understand through myself and my experience in this life. I understand how the universe is loving me, how the universe is doing some divine, beautiful dance by creating this life, by creating this riddle that I live in right now. I understand how time itself is vibrating, making fractals of causality, showing me the cycles and the patterns of what comes out of every intention that I can hold inside. I understand that my crown chakra is extremely wide open right now, and all blessings, all miracles, all quantum leaps, all downloads, all divine information, all beyond human things that can start interacting with my life right now to fulfill my purpose. I am 100% open to it, and I am vibrating from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. I am vibrating with love. I am fully open. I am divine. I'm at peace. I'm relaxed. I feel confident. I've never felt this confident before. I know I'm doing things for the right reason, out of love, for the greater good of all. I am simultaneously fully in, fully present, fully loving of this experience I'm having and who I am. And I'm also fully detached, realizing that I'm just awareness, and I'm going to be riding different bodies, different experiences, different lives for the rest of eternity. And I don't have to be so worried about it. I don't have to hold on to it so hard. I simultaneously am so present and so detached. And I know this burning desire of everything my solar plexus wants to create, everything my heart wants to love, every way I want to be here in my root chakra, everything my throat chakra wants to say, everything my third eye wants to see. I have a burning desire, and I also have complete detachment. And I know that's exactly how the law of attraction is going to whip things into place for me so quickly, because I don't have any baggage holding me back. I'm willing to separate and detach from that baggage. Look at it with my third eye open, see, understand, and appreciate what that is, and do the work. I'm willing to do that. I'm so excited about it. But I'm not stuck in that space right now. I don't have to identify with that right now. And at the same time, I'm fully confident in my beingness from every cell of my body. I'm fully confident and I'm fully present as well. And I'm 100% here. I'm not anywhere else. I don't want to be anywhere else. I hope that helped you guys. I hope that opened you up. I hope that inspired you. And I invite you to ask questions, start a conversation. But whatever you take from this video, I hope there's something you can take for yourself of how to break your own matrix. And by that, I just mean self-actualize, create the life you want to make. Don't let any systems hold you back from doing what you're supposed to do here. It's time for things to transform. Realize this: the people who enslave you, they are enslaving themselves harder. You're still free in your mind. They're stuck. They're stuck in there. So free all of us. Free yourself. Free your peers. Free your captors. Your captors are enslaved by their obsession with controlling you. Free all of us. Don't believe in anyone telling you you're less for any reason. The only limits that could be put on you, which you are a child of God made in his image. You are stardust, the universe looking at itself. No one could put limits on what you are besides those you give the authority to believe in those interpretations about your limits. Make a list of every way you think you're limited. And I challenge you, think deeply about it, contemplate on it. Is this really my limit? Is this hard and strong? Is this the only way I can function? Is there something I may not understand about my own capabilities? Is there something I may not understand about why I believe things that people tell me? List all your limits and start undoing them. The only reason why your life is the way it is now, if it's not the way you want it to be, there's glass ceilings you have to break through. It's easy to blame. It's hard to take responsibility. with power comes responsibility. So if you want power over your life, you have to turn into the kind of responsible person who can actually do the right things with that power. But look at all your limits. Debunk them. Realize how limitless you actually are. Realize how this or that constraint, or this type of chain or that type of chain, can that really hold you back in every way possible? Are you not still a divine creator? Is there other loopholes to get out of situations you're not supposed to be in? Is there other things you could tug on to help you? Are you exhausting every possibility for your advancement? And how much do you really care? Have you given up? Have you given up, said, well, this is just as good as it's going to get, or things are already fucked, or human beings are going to extinct themselves, or blah, 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 blah. Have you given up? Have you bought into the nihilism? I love nihilism, but that's not the type of nihilism I buy into. Not the kind that helps you justify being irresponsible. I like the nihilism that helps you relax, step into your responsibility without feeling like infinite stakes, that you have to take on the stress of all these stakes, but that it's just a fun, temporary game. Anyway, so you can do it. You can be a badass at it. So I encourage you, debunk all your limits. Figure out your true meaning. What does life really mean to you? Why is it important to you? Why do you care? What do you want to see? Why are you here? Find that answer and let it motivate you. Tap into that burning desire and embrace that detachment that will be necessary at times to have some distance from things you need to process. Peace, love, solidarity, ashe.